Another day, more moves, more decisions, more speculation. We got to talk about what's going on with the Seahawks after another day of training camp. What's happening, everybody? Christian Pedersen back with another episode of Seahawks Digest, the show that is stoked to have you all along for an actual football season. Thank you very much to everyone that joined up in the off season, and welcome to those of you who are new viewers. We bring daily content, so like, subscribe, all these type of YouTube buttons I'm supposed to tell you to push every single day, even though you all know what, look, it's a YouTube show. If you're watching it on YouTube about the Seahawks, you know what I'm supposed to be saying. Let's get to our stories today. We've got 3 of them for you. First one is about someone coming back, and depth is never bad in any way, shape, and form, especially on this defense. Deven Eastern. Not 7 Eastern, but Deven Eastern. He's coming back, and he is off the PUP list. For those of you that were not like dying in the weeds on some of these stats, it's a 3-year starter at Minnesota, 4.5 sacks, 11 tackles for loss, 5 passes defended, 2 forced fumbles in 45 career games for the Golden Gophers. Look, I think that you can... Football, to me, falls into 2 categories, unfortunately. Players who you can quantify their production because they give you these lofty, high-end, like, fantasy football has done this to us, where you look at a guy and you're like, how many did he score me on Saturday or Sunday? Don't know why I was saying on Saturday. Got college football in the brain. But you get what I'm saying. Like, there's boiling it down to that, and then there's a guy who represents a massive contribution to the team, because he can be fresh legs, keep your actual like A-plus starters fresh, and also not be a massive talent drop-off. And it would seem that that's what we're staring down the barrel of right now for this nose tackle / sort of interior defensive front of the Seahawks. And if a guy like Eastern is going to have, a half a sack and whatever, like minimal actual stats, sure, but there's, I think, not enough that can be said about having a guy get healthy who can come in and be a completely serviceable, if not like good backup. And if that's 3 plays, 3 drives, whatever it is per game, I'm not 100% sure. We will see how this all folds out. But nonetheless, to me, it is an absolutely huge thing to get back. Speaking of huge, this is both physically and question-wise. Jadeveon Clowney, is he headed back to the Seattle Seahawks? I don't have a specific source saying, this is or is not happening. But if you're connecting the dots, if you will, the tweets have come out that he is interested and has received interest from Browns, Texans, and Seahawks. Clowney, at this point in his career, has made it incredibly clear that he is not interested in training camp, that he is a veteran who is he's done this now a couple of times, where he stays home in Texas and works out and waits till the end of training camp to come and sign with somebody, but then ends up ultimately going and balling out. He is also somebody who has a connection to Coach Macdonald, in addition to a connection with the Seahawks. And when he was with Macdonald in Baltimore, he had one of his best seasons. I'm curious what your reaction is. We do this every time. I shouldn't say we. I do this every time with a veteran player, where you get hype on a big name. And I think about that South Carolina hit, and Jadeveon Clowney's played in a lot of big games, but then you start to also realize, he is a veteran who's never won a Super Bowl and is doing this holdout thing every year. And, is that a little bit too much of a sideshow? And then, so that's where you do this, this delicate thing of, bring him in. Do we mess with the chemistry of what's going on and take a flyer on the core of this guy's still got some good football in him and we just let's do it? Or do you say, hey, bringing him in at this point the upside is all hypothetical and the downside is all realistic, of throwing off the rotations of existing players, of investing time in a guy who's older and maybe going to have a fall off year or going to get injured or whatever. So, it's a little bit of the both. I think maybe right now my initial reaction, I'd say I'm 55-45 in favor of bringing in Clowney. Right now, if you're telling me that he's at home in Texas working out, I don't think he's going to want some big multi-year, he's not asking for 6 years, $250 million. Let's see if you can get him 1 year just on we're deep, we're headed back to the playoffs, come tag along and be the finishing piece kind of veteran deal, I'm entirely open to that. Next thing we got to talk about is a position change. Not a ton of that, but the Seahawks have been trying to figure out what's up in the running back room. And part of that is an unknown of having some guys leave, Kenneth Walker, having some guys injured like Sharps, and having some rookies behind it. But it's also a little bit of just an unknown in that I don't think that with a new offensive coordinator, you necessarily have anybody slated in to be oh, they're set. These are my boys. I'm rolling with them. I'm not open to any changes. So right now, the official word is that Velus Jones Jr. is moving from being a wide receiver to being a running back. Now, I don't think that this is a move intended to be oh my gosh, we have found the secret sauce and homeboy's going to move over here and this is going to bench Jadarian Price and whatnot. Most likely, he is looking at being moved to running back equally as much out of the need to add running backs as it is to just be Torrey Horton's coming healthy and we've got Sheed and we just maybe don't need wide receiver number 6 as badly as we need running back number 5. I would also think that he's going to get most likely his route. Speaking about Velus Jones, his route most likely to the team is going to be on special teams anyway. So I would say that maybe the official designation of running back versus wide receiver is slightly a formality, or maybe splitting hairs, if you will. But nonetheless, it is interesting to watch because if there is going to be a couple of weeks where Sharps is out, just kind of open. Apologies for that. For YouTube show, you get what you get. With Sharps out for a couple of weeks, let's call it, it's just going to open up questions. Just to be what does all of this actually end up looking like? All right, that's what I've got for you. 3 stories today on the Seahawks. Let me know what you think. Drop a comment on all of this. Like, subscribe, share, dislike, follow, unsubscribe. I don't care. I'm just supposed to tell you to press all those buttons every single episode. Thanks for tuning in to another episode. Talk to you guys soon.